Okay, so the other day I was sitting next to a woman at dinner who is about mid to late 20s. She works full-time in advertising, and she mentioned she has a goal to lose fat for good. She knew that I've been on my own 70-pound fat loss journey because she's been following my channel for a while and saw all the thirst traps that I post on IG. Okay, she didn't say it like that exactly, but she knew that I was a content creator who talked about health and fitness, and she just continued to mention that she has this goal to lose fat. And after dinner, it got me thinking, whenever I meet people in person and they find out that I create content around health and fitness and that I talk about my own weight loss journey, they always want to know exactly what I did. And so I thought, why not have a girl chat, a real and honest conversation? So if you're watching this video and you have a goal to lose fat, this is my honest advice. Just in case you're new here, hi, my name is Elias Bertrand. I create health and fitness content for women to inspire, educate, and motivate them to live a healthy and more fulfilled life. And this journey all started because back in high school, I weighed over 200 plus pounds, I had zero self-confidence, and I really felt a lot of pressure to look a certain way and act a certain way. And this all started my journey to lose 75 plus pounds. By the end of high school, I was now going to Michigan State, where I was a D1 athlete. And while I was there, I started coaching clients, showing them what I did, creating meal guides for them, working out with them. And while I was in college, I also had this little kick where I thought I wanted to be Maria Taylor and become a sideline broadcaster. But that experience allowed me to learn how to set up a camera, how to speak in front of a mic. And even though I didn't become Maria Taylor, it did allow me to have this amazing opportunity to start a YouTube channel and start sharing everything I know on YouTube with you amazing besties. So if any of that sounds of interest to you, make sure you hit that subscribe button because I would love for you to join the bestie family. Because not only did I lose 75 plus pounds, but I kept it off for years. So there's potentially some useful things I could share to someone who wants to be in that position. Going back to my friend Carrie, the first question that I asked her is, why do you want to lose fat? What do you believe losing fat will give you? And I ask this question because a lot of times when I talk to people, they're like, I want that hourglass figure. I want to have a snatched waist. I want to have a booty so big, Nicki Minaj would be jealous. And while all those things are great, I think a lot of times we stay on the superficial aspects on why we want to lose fat, not realizing that there's normally a deeper purpose and emotion that we truly want. And so I want you to ask yourself, what do you believe losing fat will get you from an emotional standpoint? Is it pride that you overcame a challenge and pushed yourself? Is it confidence that when you step outside, you feel good in the clothes that you're wearing? Or is it centered around others? You want to be able to play with your grandkids in the future and not have any aches or pains. And I mentioned this to Carrie because losing fat does not guarantee happiness. When I was my most shredded, I was also my most miserable. I was living in Greece at the time, and while my body fat percentage was the lowest it had ever been and my physique looked great, I was in such a restrictive diet that it was pretty difficult to maintain for the long term. And this is also typically how bodybuilders will feel after competition. They'll normally pick up a lot more weight that they had before they even started because for such a long time their diet was so restrictive that it was unmaintainable. What specifically do you want that losing fat will give you? And in my case, I wanted to feel comfortable in my skin. When I would hang out with my friends at the time, I always would notice that if we went shopping, I felt so uncomfortable trying on a pair of jeans or even have any of them look at me. You know, when you're in the dressing room, they're like, come out, I want to see you. I refused to go out. I refused to allow people to take pictures of me from the neck down because I was so uncomfortable with the way that I looked. And I also noticed that my friends weren't experiencing that same thing. They felt okay taking photos of them and sending it to their friends or sending it to their family, and I didn't. And ultimately, at the end of the day, what I wanted was to maximize my chances of happiness and fulfillment. I wanted to have empowerment and control over my body and really live life to the fullest. And so for you, it may look a little bit different. It may be you want to lose fat so you can run your fastest marathon time, or maybe you got a diagnosis from the doctor that you have diabetes or high cholesterol and you want to do something so that you can make sure you're maintaining your health. The reasons may vary, but understanding the specific specifics on why you want to lose fat is going to help us so that we don't go overboard, because as I mentioned, I got to a point where it was no longer about losing fat so that I could feel comfortable in my skin. It was about losing fat for superficial vanity metrics that simply did not matter. So the more specific that we get with our intention is going to help us down the road, because even though we're going to pick a reason on why we want to lose fat, it may shift and change over time, and that's completely okay, but it's going to give us guardrails on when to know we may have gone too far. But anyways, going back to my friend Carrie, as we're talking over dinner, she was saying that she's dabbled in fitness before. She's done Orange Theory, F45, she's even had a Pilates kick like the rest of us, and her boyfriend are looking at having kids in the future, and she wants to make sure she is prepared and ready for when she has kids. She became super busy with work over the past couple months, traveling, and all of that led to her picking up a couple of pounds. And so really for her, it's about losing fat so that when they decide to have kids, she'll be ready to go. And I was like, great, that's beautiful. I love it. So my next question is, what is your fat loss goal? And I guarantee you, whatever number you pick, it's going to shift and change, but that's okay. It's going to give us an aim. In fact, I want you to pull out your phone or a journal right now and write down what is your fat loss goal. And I want you to specifically say it as this. I'll pretend I'm Carrie. My name is Carrie, and my goal is to lose 20 pounds of fat so that I can feel confident and comfortable in my skin. So with this goal, you're writing out who you specifically are so that you know you're talking about you. You're writing out a specific goal, and then you're writing out what you want to feel by accomplishing this goal. That formula is critical. When I asked Carrie what her goal is, she said she wants to lose 20 pounds in 4 weeks. And I was like, 4 weeks? You said you want to have kids in 2 years. Where did this 4 weeks come from? But for ease, let's just go with it. This is what she's telling me. And so I did some numbers beforehand, and during the conversation, I was kind of just riffing a little bit more. I think I said roughly 500 calories, but when I actually did the math before this video, if she wanted to lose 20 pounds in 4 weeks, that comes out to her either decreasing her calories by 625 every single day, or increasing her physical activity to 625 every single day, or a combination of both. It's slightly aggressive, but let's go with it. Now that Carrie has her goal defined, we must figure out two things. One, what is the plan to make this goal a reality? And two, what in your life will need to shift? Everyone has a plan, whether they're conscious of it or not. I read this incredible book called Psycho-Cybernetics, and it dives into how humans are goal-striving mechanisms. A beautiful example I like to use is a squirrel. If a squirrel is born in February, once fall comes, the squirrel knows it needs to start gathering nuts to prepare for the winter. Humans are the exact same way. You don't have to tell a human how to start going after a goal. Once you give yourself a goal, it will naturally start doing it. But what a lot of people don't realize is that we are naturally going after goals that we didn't initially set the strategy for. It's because we did not become clear with our goal. We did not identify what are we specifically striving for. And so that is why picking out and identifying what your goal is very important. In Carrie's case, her goal was to decrease her calories by 625. And she also had just mentioned to me that she's not working out currently, and she has a lot of travel plans coming up in the summer for work and also for pleasure. And so what we're calling out right here is a discrepancy between her goal and the life that she's living. I'm all about living an aligned life, and a lot of times what happens is we set these goals and these targets, but the plan that we're following every single day doesn't align to that goal. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It happens to quite often a lot of us. And so when I go back to Carrie, the question I say is, what do you want to change? Is it the goal or is it the plan that you're following? And I want to pause here because this isn't an easy decision. She truly has this goal to lose 20 pounds of fat. She wants to live her best life. She wants to have an incredible shredded summer, but at the same time, she has these travel plans. She has to go for work. And you know, when you travel for work, you're going out to restaurants and you're eating all of this great food that's paid for by the company. And so it's a pretty difficult decision. Ultimately, what she says is, okay, I think I'm gonna change the goal because I can't change these travel plans for work and I'm already booked in everything that I'm doing this summer. And I go, amazing, great, beautiful. I get so happy when I'm talking with people and they decide to change the goal because it means you're not gonna be living a life of misery and hell for the next 4 weeks. We do not have to feel down on ourselves if we ever create a goal and decide to lower that goal. Because if you think about it, a lot of these numbers are arbitrary. Whether you say I'm gonna lose 10 pounds or 20 pounds, it doesn't necessarily matter. What matters is the life that you're living every single day to get you to that goal. That's going to be the part that you care about. If you do end up losing the 20 pounds, but it was hell on earth, you're traveling, you can't eat anything, everybody at work is doing all of this, having a good time, and you're sitting there pouting and unhappy, you're not going to enjoy that life. You're going to look back on the summer and be like, why the hell did I do this? So instead, let's lower the goal. Let's lower the target. Let's make it something more manageable so that while you're traveling, it's a little bit easier for you to hit that target. The goals we choose to work for are the things that dictate our entire life, because when you set a goal or intention, that sets the actions for what you're working towards. And those actions are what gives you your day-to-day experiences of living life. So it's totally okay to change the goal, to decide I only want to lose 5 pounds and move my body 3 times a week because I just want to enjoy the process of getting there. By lowering the goal, you're going to be more likely to hit or exceed that goal and enjoy the process of getting there. Going back to Carrie, she decides, let's keep the goal. I want to lose 20 pounds in 4 weeks. And I go, bet, okay, a hater will never be me. I'm going to hype you up the entire time, sis. Then I go, amazing. What's the plan? How are we going to get there? And then she starts listing keto, another diet. And I immediately started rolling my eyes. I was like, ooh. I don't remember all the diets she listed. I just know she started listing diets. And hear me, I rolled my eyes because diets work in the short term. It's going to help you lose all types of fat because you're going to be restricting your carbohydrates to a point that are so low that then once you get off the diet, you're going to put all the weight back on, if not more. And we like to call this yo-yo dieting. It's because the habits that you're making aren't truly sustainable and they're not lifestyle changes. And so while I'm listening to her and hearing her talk about these various diets that she's going to go on, I was like, okay, is there anything else that we can do outside of a keto diet? And she was like, well, I don't really know what else to do. And I was like, okay, well, we're learning more by talking about this. And this is where I want to introduce a framework by Alex Harmonzi that I heard spoken by Ali. What will typically happen is that when we have a goal or a target, we're way over here, right? And we can see the goal that we want out there somewhere, but we just don't know all of the various pathways to get there. And this is also where I want to introduce the law of equal and opposite advice. A lot of times you will hear people preaching all over the internet about you just need to get motivated. You need to get motivated and be disciplined and then you'll hit your goals. But the flip side of that is some people are motivated and disciplined, but they don't necessarily know what to do to get there. And so I want to ask you, can you list 10 different ways for you to lose the fat that you want to hit? If you can, amazing, beautiful. I want you to pick one of them that's going to fit within your lifestyle the best and start operating it today. If you do not know, that's also great because it means you don't have an execution problem, we have a knowledge problem. And all of this is beautiful for us to better understand where we currently are so we can get you the help that you need to solve this problem. So with Carrie, going back to her, it's obviously a knowledge problem. She's listing various diets. A lot of them don't really seem like they would be sustainable. They would help her get the 20 pounds off for the 4 weeks. But I'm also thinking about her 1 year from now, 2 years from now, when she's looking to have these kids. We want to make sure that you still feel confident even after you have the babies or before you have the babies in the skin that you're in. So we figure out it's a knowledge issue. Great. And this leads us to action. And as I'm talking to Carrie, I'm like, Carrie, it's obvious this is very important to you and you've been thinking about this for months, and yet you haven't read a book about this or listened to a podcast about this. What's up with that? And she was like, shit, I never thought about it this way. And I was like, it's okay. Most of us don't. But when we think about a doctor or chefs, an engineer, or even pilots spend years reading books, studying, understanding everything about the ins and outs of flying before they ever step into a simulator. Not even flying something, but before they even step into a simulator. Why wouldn't we take that same approach with the goals that we care about, the things that are so close to our hearts? They would never allow a pilot to just step into a plane and start flying it. They have to have the knowledge. And really, our health and fitness journeys are the same exact way. There is a science to losing fat, and not a lot of people need the science. You can figure out how to do it in a mindful way. A lot of people have been very successful in that regard. But at the same time, there's also knowledge and information. And the more that we know this knowledge and information, the easier it's going to be for us to hit our goals. And so this leads me to the books that I recommended to Carrie. And I want to pause because don't be one of those people who's like, I don't need to read a book. If this is important to you, if this is a goal that you have, pick up the book, get the knowledge, listen to it on audiobook. And I actually just read a book called The Fastlane Millionaire, and he goes into details on all of the time and space that we have within our day to actually listen to books when you're sitting on the toilet, when you're cooking, when you're commuting, when you are walking to get your nails done, or while you're even getting your nails done, before you go to sleep at night, when you wake up in the morning. And honestly, the past month, I've cut out watching TV, and I've had time to get through 3 books already. And so it became even apparent to me, like I'm talking about, I don't have this time, I'm so busy. I cut out one thing in my life, and it allowed me to have all of this time and space. So please, read these books. Reading these books too is also going to allow you to see the roadmap and guidance on how to make these dreams a success. So the first book that I'm going to recommend is Atomic Habits. This one, a lot of people have already read. So if you've already read it, that's great. That's amazing. And even though this one doesn't go into the details on fitness and fat loss, it helps you break down your habits, because ultimately when it comes to losing fat, building muscle, getting shredded, we have to have our habits in order, and that's going to be the foundation of everything else. The next book I would recommend is Superhero Nutrition by Steve Zim. He does a really good job of breaking down insulin in a way that I've never heard it before, and he also helps you time your meals appropriately so that you're maximizing your workouts and eating the right food when you need to be eating it. The next book I would recommend is In Defense of Food by Michael Pollan, and ultimately the book is broken down into 7 liberating words. Eat food, but not too much. He teaches us how to eat appropriate portion sizes and really whole dense food that's going to give our bodies energy, and avoiding heavily processed foods. And the last book I would recommend is my own. It's called Shred, and Shred has 3 different pieces that you can purchase. You can either do the full guide that includes the workouts and the book, just the workouts, or simply the book. And here I'm recommending the book aspect of it. It goes into everything that you need to know. I break down metabolism, carbohydrates, fats, proteins, and really a step-by-step guidance on how to tailor your nutrition, and a lot of the information that I ended up sharing with Carrie. Carrie is an atypical friend, okay? Because she knew, hey, if I listen to Elias, because Elias knows all of this stuff, I'm gonna become successful. And she read all of those books, and she ended up losing over 30 pounds. It did take her 6 months, so it was a little bit longer than what she would have liked, but she lost the weight, and she did it in a way that was sustainable and healthy. And I will say, this is a friend who, like, she's type A. So if you give her something, like, she's gonna do it, and I appreciate that about her. But it just goes to show you that when you put the books that I just shared with you in action, it's going to help you get the goals that you want and keep it off for longer. And then I also want to put a few podcasts here on the screen. Some of these podcasts are some of the best that I've ever heard on losing fat, living a healthy lifestyle. And some people that I want to give a huge shout out to, who I think are just extremely knowledgeable within this space and have really good things to listen to, is Diary of a CEO. He brings people onto his podcast, and he really helps you break down and understand all different forms of health, from sleep to calories to neuroscience by Dr. Daniel Amen. I mean, the power of his podcast are incredible. It's really entertaining, and it's great to listen to while you're on a car ride or while you're just chilling at home making food or something. Another person I would recommend is Wellness by Ella. She is a podcast host that I listen to on Spotify. She does this podcast with her husband and she's all about plant-based eating. And I love hearing it because it just really motivates and encourages me to be plant-based. I do eat meat, but I know that when you focus more on natural foods like fruits and veggies, it's going to be so much better for you in the long run. So she's a great person who motivates me and inspires me in that space. Another person I listen to is Natasha Oceani. This girl is the GOAT, okay? I mean, she challenges herself in ways that I have not seen before. She's extremely athletic, extremely fit, and she gives you such great advice on truly how to lose fat based on scientific principles. Another girl I have to recommend is my girl Janet. She does it in more of a lifestyle, hang out with me, wellness type vlogs, and I love just spending time with her in her vlogs. You get to see her live out her life and true practical tips on how to live a healthy and more fulfilled life. And so honestly, guys, I listen to these people all of the time and I am still learning and growing in everything that I know, and I've been on my journey for years. Majority of people that I speak to always share they have a goal to lose weight or lose fat. And whenever I ask them if they've read a book on it or listened to a podcast on it recently, a lot of them say they haven't. And the vast majority of people want to be in healthier, fitter shape than where they currently are. And these goals are incredible. They're amazing goals. And yet we don't listen to people who help us get there, who help us have the knowledge to live this life. And so I just want to encourage you that if this is truly a desire of yours, if this is a goal, to spend some time a couple times out of the week listening to people who can help you reach that goal. Right now, I'm reading Outlive by Peter Attia, and I'm also listening to all of those people that I shared with you, Natasha, Janet, whenever I have the free time, because honestly, there's so much that I need to learn within this space. And the more I surround myself by people who are more advanced than me and have more knowledge than I do, the more my perspective is going to shift, and it's going to allow me to stop playing so small. Whenever I talk to my family, they're always like, what are you doing? And I'm like, working, or I'm like, reading. And they're like, all you ever do is work and read. And I'm like, yeah, because I have goals and I'm trying to hit these goals. And if I look back on my life, I want to make sure that I did everything that I knew to do. And if I don't have the knowledge, if I don't have the information, that's okay. I can figure out how to get it. At a certain point, we have to get around people who are more advanced than us. We understand that the 5 people around us are who we become. And even though you may not have people in your close circle you can talk to and connect with about this, you can reach out to people online. You can reach out to me. I'm always here for you with whatever questions you have. Leave them in the comments down below and I will answer them. But you can also listen to books. You can also listen to podcasts, and all of these people are going to be able to become your close circle without you even realizing it. There's a few other things that I would have shared with Carrie that I would have if we had more time. And the first one is the physiques that you see on social media took years to get to. When people look at my fat loss journey on Instagram, they're like, oh my gosh, like how did you get the physical shape that you have? How did you get the butt and all of this? And I'm like, guys, it took years to develop it. Like what you're seeing in one post took 7 years in real time. And so it's just a reminder not to compare yourself to anyone else's journey, because you have no idea how long some of these people have been. Chrissy Chella, I believe, has been on her journey for like 5+ years. Natasha Oceani, I believe, has also been on her journey for a really long time. She was an athlete. And so whenever we compare ourselves to people we see on social media, we're doing ourselves a disservice because we don't know how long it truly took them to get there. The second thing I would have said is don't fall for the end goal trap. The trap of, once I get there, I'm finally gonna feel good. Once I lose the 20 pounds, I'm finally gonna feel perfect. I can tell you firsthand that I've lost over 75 pounds, and to this day, I am still very hard on myself. To this day, I'm like, you can lose a couple more pounds. Oh, you could get a little bit more shredded. Like it's all of us. It's the natural way that humans are. And so if you're embarking on this journey, you're embarking on a long journey. And I don't say that to scare you. I say it to be very real because it takes years and it takes a lot of time. And we have a couple options to make. You can be the person who sets a goal, and the goal is so far out and it's so hard to get to and it feels impossible and like this draining, hard thing, and why you would never want to lose fat because you're like, why would I ever want to lose fat? This is awful and impossible. I can't eat carbs. I can't hang out with my friends. I have to go to the gym 24/7. You don't have to choose to do it that that way. You can choose to do it in a way that feels good, in a way that makes it sustainable, in a way where you're meal prepping and doing it with friends in a community of people. It doesn't have to be this awful, gruesome process. And I know that sounds weird, but when you are able to do it in a way that's more enjoyable, it's going to be more sustainable. The other thing I would say with so much love and grace is to stop wasting time. So many of us have this goal and this desire, and we allow fear to truly hold us back from ever starting. If you don't start, you will never get there. It's never going to be a perfect time. It's never going to be a perfect day. And we truly waste a lot of our time scrolling on social media or watching TV. It's the harsh reality, but it's the truth. If we clean up a lot of our habits, which is why the first book I recommended was Atomic Habits, it would be a lot easier for us to hit the goals that we need. Another thing is, if you use your time more efficiently by like getting a coach, talking with people about it, truly saying that this is a desire and a goal that I have, it's going to make it that much easier for you, because if only you know and no one in your close circle knows, no one around you knows that this is an important goal and a desire that you have, no one's going to be able to help you get there. And so I would recommend cleaning up your time, taking a really good look at your calendar and figuring out, where can I be a little bit more efficient? It's more than just losing weight. It's truly a lifestyle change. And I know that sounds so cliche and like, girl, of course you're saying this. I just want to look snatched. I get it. I do. And when I first started my journey, I was kind of more like that too. I was like, look, I just want to look good. I want to feel comfortable in my skin. But I'm telling you, now that I'm here, I crave working out. I crave eating healthy because it's a part of my lifestyle. It gives me energy. It allows me to feel good. It allows me to feel confident. It wakes me up. It gives me so many more benefits than just the way that I look. And I want to remind you of that, because when you do really find a routine that fits for you and fits for your lifestyle, you realize, why would I ever go back to living the way that I was before? I'm so much happier this way. I feel so much more fulfilled. Make sure the plan that you're following and the system that you're using is a sensible one. This is the advice that I would give to someone who wants to lose fat. And if you enjoyed this video, I have a perfect video for you to watch next that I'm gonna link right here. It's a day in the life with me, where I go through all the ins and outs on how I'm losing fat, so that you can get a little bit more in the nitty-gritty on what I do specifically. I love you so much, and I really hope this video helped you. If it did, please give it a thumbs up and make sure you comment down below what's one thing that you learned, because I'm also curious of what you're taking away from this. I love you so much, and I'll see you soon. Bye.